Deep dive.
Yeah,
Today we're going way back to the beginning
at the very beginning.
of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Like the super early years trying to figure out, what were some of the mysteries,
The breakthroughs.
the breakthroughs, all of that.
Right.
That shaped how we got to where we are today.
Uh-huh.
And the way we're going to do that is with this book, Digital Gold by Nathaniel Popper.
Ray book.
Yeah, so it's a really interesting look at the people involved.
The ideas.
The idea.
The personalities.
Yeah.
The events.
You're going to be surprised by what you learn about the early days.
For sure.
So it really all started with this vision
Yeah, this vision.
of a world where money wasn't controlled by governments or institutions,
Right.
but by the people.
Yeah.
It sounds kind of utopian, doesn't it?
It does.
This idea of financial freedom, kind of taking power back from these authorities.
Yeah.
Who were these people?
They were called cypherpunks.
Cypherpunks, yeah.
And they were digital pioneers. Hackers with a cause, basically.
So how did they create Bitcoin?
Well, it was a long journey.
Oh, okay.
Decades in the making. And one of the key figures was a guy named Hal Finney.
Okay.
A programmer, very famous programmer.
Right.
Really big advocate for privacy.
Got it.
So you have to imagine this.
Okay.
January 2009, Hal Finney's celebrating his son's birthday.
Okay.
And at the same time, he's downloading this software
Okay.
called Bitcoin.
All right.
And he's one of the first people in the world to run the software.
That's an amazing story. So he was there at the very beginning.
At the very beginning, but
But he wasn't the creator.
no, he wasn't the creator. The creator is, to this day, a mystery.
Oh, wow.
Goes by the name, or the pseudonym, Satoshi Nakamoto.
Okay.
And nobody knows for sure who Satoshi is,
Huh.
or if it's even a single person or a group.
That's fascinating. So how did Satoshi do what so many others couldn't? Because I know there were other attempts to create digital cash, right?
There were, yeah.
So what was different here?
Well, they all faced this fundamental problem.
Okay.
The issue of trust.
Okay. Got it.
How do you create digital money that doesn't rely on a central authority like a bank
Right.
to verify transactions,
Yeah.
to prevent fraud?
I can see how that would be hard. It's almost like building a house without a foundation.
Exactly. But Satoshi came up with a solution,
Okay.
the blockchain.
Okay. I think everyone's heard of the blockchain, but I don't know if they really understand it. So what is it?
So imagine like a digital ledger,
Okay.
a record of every Bitcoin transaction that's ever taken place.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this ledger is not stored in any one place. It's distributed
Okay.
across this vast network
Okay.
of computers all over the world.
So it's kind of like a giant shared spreadsheet that anyone can access?
Yeah, that's one way to think about it. And here's the key. Every time a transaction happens, a new transaction, it's added to the ledger, and then the updated ledger is broadcast to all the computers in the network.
Okay. So everyone has the same copy.
The same record.
The same record.
Yeah.
But how does that prevent fraud? Couldn't someone just change their copy?
Yeah. So that's where the genius of the blockchain comes in.
Okay.
Each block of transactions, right, is linked to the previous block
Okay.
using cryptography,
Yeah.
creating an unbreakable chain
So any attempt to change.
to alter even a single transaction.
Okay.
It would break the chain,
Got it.
and it would be immediately detected.
Okay. That's really clever.
It's a self-enforcing system of checks and balances, right?
Uh-huh.
And because it's decentralized, there's no single point of failure.
Got it.
No government or institution can control it or shut it down.
So that's how Satoshi solved the problem of trust.
Yeah.
But how did they get people to actually use this thing?
That's a great question.
Like in those early days, it must have seemed very strange.
Very strange.
Very abstract.
Yeah, it was a hard sell at first.
I bet.
People struggled to understand what it was, how it worked, and even what they could...
Went from this theoretical concept to something in the real world.
Right.
But if Bitcoin was so difficult to use
Yeah.
and had such little value,
Right.
how did it gain any traction?
Well, as Bitcoin started to get a little more popular,
Mm.
people needed a way to buy and sell it easily.
Okay.
And that's where exchanges came in.
Okay.
Places like Mt. Gox.
Mt. Gox. I've heard that name, but I don't really, I don't know what happened to it.
So Mt. Gox was the first major Bitcoin exchange.
Okay.
It was founded by a guy named Jed McCaleb, who later sold it to Mark Karpeles.
Okay.
And it was basically a digital marketplace
Got it.
where you could trade Bitcoin
Okay.
for traditional currency.
So like dollars or euros or whatever.
Exactly.
Okay. So like the eBay of Bitcoin, kind of.
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah.
It gave people a platform to easily buy and sell,
Uh-huh.
and that helped to increase its value and spread awareness.
Got it.
But Mt. Gox also had a dark side.
Okay.
It was plagued by all kinds of problems, technical problems, security breaches, and ultimately a catastrophic collapse.
That's a shame. It's like a cautionary tale about the risks of this new world.
It is, yeah.
But despite all that,
Right.
Bitcoin continued to grow.
It did, yeah.
Which is, I guess, what's so remarkable about it. It's
Yeah.
very resilient.
It is. It faced challenges,
Yeah.
controversies, setbacks,
Uh-huh.
but it never went away.
Yeah.
And in fact, it seemed to only get stronger
Yeah.
as time went on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing how resilient it's been.
Yeah.
Like, even with all those issues with Mt. Gox,
Right.
it still kept growing.
Kept going.
And wasn't there this whole other side to this story early on?
There was.
Like this online marketplace called Silk Road?
Ah, Silk Road. Yeah, it's
I've heard whispers.
yeah, it's a fascinating and controversial chapter.
Okay.
For sure.
In Bitcoin's history.
In Bitcoin's history.
Yeah.
It was this online marketplace that operated on the dark web,
Okay. So
hidden from prying eyes.
hidden from
Yeah.
search engines and stuff like that.
Search engines, law enforcement.
Yeah.
And it was powered by Bitcoin.
Okay, so what was being sold on Silk Road? I've heard like rumors.
All sorts of things.
Okay.
But what it gained notoriety for
Okay.
was its trade in illegal goods,
Okay.
particularly drugs.
Got it.
It was founded by this young libertarian idealist named Ross Ulbricht,
Okay.
who went by the pseudonym Dread Pirate Roberts.
Dread Pirate Roberts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like something out of a movie.
It does, yeah.
But
So why use Bitcoin?
that's a good question.
Why not stick with regular money
Right.
for these illegal transactions?
That's where Bitcoin's unique properties came in.
Okay.
Remember, Bitcoin transactions are pseudonymous and decentralized.
Okay, yeah.
There's no central authority
Right.
tracking who is sending or receiving Bitcoin,
Yeah.
and that made it very attractive.
I see. So for people doing illegal stuff,
Right.
it was a way to
Stay anonymous,
be private.
be private, yeah.
Yeah.
And so as Silk Road grew in popularity,
Yeah.
so did Bitcoin's value.
Okay.
It created this feedback loop.
Okay.
More people using Bitcoin on Silk Road drove up demand,
Got it.
which in turn attracted more media attention and more users.
Okay. So more people heard about it.
More people heard about it.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was this really interesting dynamic.
So it's like this kind of double-edged sword.
Yeah.
You know, like
Absolutely.
on one hand, we have this innovative new technology,
Right.
could change the world, but
Yeah.
it's associated with all this criminal activity.
Yeah. And that created a challenge for those who
Sure.
really believed in Bitcoin's potential as a force for good.
Yeah.
They had to grapple with that perception
Right.
of it as a tool for criminals.
So how do you change that perception?
So one of the key initiatives was the formation of the Bitcoin Foundation
Okay.
in late 2012.
Okay.
And it was an attempt to bring more legitimacy.
So make it seem more professional.
Yeah, more mainstream
Yeah.
acceptance to Bitcoin.
Okay, and try to distance it from
Distance it from
Sure,
its
sure.
association with Silk Road.
an
Yeah.
audit.
They wanted to show the world that Bitcoin was more than just a currency for criminals,
Yeah.
that it was a revolutionary technology
Yeah.
with the potential to really transform
Like how we think about money.
how we think about money and finance. Exactly.
Yeah, okay, so how did they go about doing that?
They focused on several things.
Okay.
First, they worked on improving Bitcoin's infrastructure,
Okay.
making it more secure, reliable, and user-friendly.
Right, so make it actually work.
Make it actually work.
Better.
And they also engaged with regulators and policymakers,
Okay.
trying to, educate them about Bitcoin and address concerns
Right.
about its potential risks.
So it was like,
It was a multi-pronged approach.
yeah.
Public relations,
Yeah.
technical development,
Got it. Yeah.
kind of going on at the same time.
Okay, so all this is happening,
Right.
right? We have the Bitcoin Foundation trying to legitimize things. Meanwhile,
Meanwhile,
this is also around the time that a lot of venture capitalists in Silicon Valley
Exactly.
started to get interested in.
absolutely.
Right.
That's right.
So what was their take on all this?
Initially,
Yeah.
a lot of skepticism.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because,
Because Silicon Valley's all about disruption.
right, they're all about disrupting industries.
But,
But
finance is different.
finance was always seen as like a different beast.
Yeah.
Too big.
Too big.
Too complex.
Too regulated.
Too regulated.
So what changed their minds?
A few things.
Okay.
One was just the growing awareness
Okay.
of the potential of the blockchain
Okay.
beyond just cryptocurrency.
I see. So it could be used for...
People started to see the applications
Yeah.
for things like supply chain management,
Okay.
voting systems,
Oh.
even digital identity.
So Bitcoin,
So it was becoming more than just
it was becoming more than a currency.
a currency. Yeah.
It was like a...
It was evolving into a platform,
Okay.
a technology
With lots of applications.
with a wide range of applications.
Yeah, okay, so...
And that, combined with its growing market value,
Right.
made it increasingly attractive
Yeah.
to investors.
Yeah. So were there any, like, big names
Oh, yeah.
who were early champions of this?
Yeah. So Peter Thiel,
Okay.
the co-founder of PayPal and an early investor in Facebook,
Yeah.
was among the first
Okay.
to really recognize
Bitcoin's potential.
Bitcoin's disruptive potential.
Yeah.
His venture capital firm, Founders Fund,
Okay.
started exploring crypto investments.
Oh.
And he even funded a secret Bitcoin mining operation.
A secret mining operation.
Yeah. Led by Balaji Srinivasan,
Okay.
brilliant Stanford graduate.
So this is like... Sounds like a spy movie or something.
It was a bold move.
Yeah.
And it reflects, I think, this growing belief
Yeah.
that Bitcoin mining could be very lucrative.
Okay.
So remember how Bitcoin transactions are verified and added to the blockchain.
Right.
That process is called mining.
Right. The blockchain is like a ledger.
Right.
And miners are the bookkeepers.
Exactly.
Okay.
And to do this bookkeeping,
Yeah.
miners have to solve
Complex math problems.
these complex mathematical problems.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a very computationally intensive process.
Yeah, I bet.
Requires a lot of computing power
Yeah.
and a lot of electricity.
Okay, so as more people started using Bitcoin,
Yeah.
the demand for mining
Write it out.
increased and it became
More competitive.
more competitive.
Okay.
And as the competition intensified,
Yeah.
miners started investing in specialized hardware
Okay.
to give them an edge.
So like better computers and stuff.
Yeah, so this led to the rise of these things called ASIC chips,
Okay.
which are custom designed chips
Okay.
specifically for Bitcoin mining.
So it became like a technological arms race.
It became an arms race
Bro.
with miners constantly trying to...
Outdo each other.
Yeah.
With faster
Yeah.
and more efficient hardware.
Okay, so were there any unintended consequences of this arms race?
There were.
Okay, like what?
So as mining became more specialized
Okay.
and expensive,
Yeah.
it started to be dominated
Okay.
by these large-scale operations,
Okay.
often located in regions with
Cheap electricity.
abundant and affordable energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the dream of a decentralized system
Right.
starts to bump up against reality a little bit.
To some extent, yes. As mining became more centralized,
Yeah.
it raised concerns
Okay.
about
Okay. What could go wrong?
potential for market manipulation
Okay.
and control by a handful of powerful players.
Yeah. So you have the efficiency,
Right.
but then you also have
But you have the
risk of
centralization.
Yeah,
Exactly.
which kind of goes against the whole ethos.
It
of
does.
things.
Yeah. And it's a tension
Yeah.
that continues to this day.
Okay.
It highlights the challenges
Yeah.
of
A
building
decentralized system
a truly decentralized
in
system
a centralized world.
in a world
but
that's still largely governed by
by centralized institutes.
centralized institutions. Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's so fascinating to see how these
Mm.
early
That's-
decisions, developments shape the trajectory of Bitcoin.
Absolutely.
But all this time, what was like the traditional financial world
Right.
doing? Were they paying attention?
So
Yeah.
initially,
Yeah.
they largely ignored it.
They just thought it was like a fad.
They saw it as a fringe curiosity,
Yeah.
a toy
Mm.
for tech enthusiasts and libertarians.
Yeah.
They didn't believe
That was a threat
that it posed any real threat.
to them.
Yeah.
But as Bitcoin grew,
Yeah.
they couldn't have ignored it forever.
Not forever, no.
Right.
You're right.
You're right.
So
It's
as it gained more acceptance,
yeah.
it started to attract attention from
Regulators. Honestly, even central banks.
even central banks. Yeah.
So the establishment was starting to take notice.
Yeah.
How'd they react?
Mixed reactions.
Okay.
Some saw it as a potential threat
Okay.
to financial stability,
Okay.
a tool for money laundering,
Yeah.
other illicit activities.
Yeah.
Others saw it as a potential opportunity,
Okay.
a chance to innovate
Okay.
and improve existing financial systems.
It sounds like Bitcoin was walking this tightrope,
Yeah.
trying to gain mainstream acceptance,
Right.
but also trying to stay true to its roots.
Yeah.
So was there a point where these two forces
Yeah.
clashed?
There were definitely growing pains.
Okay.
As Bitcoin started attracting big money from Silicon Valley,
Right.
some people worried
Okay.
that it was straying from its original purpose.
Okay. So
You had this group of early adopters
yeah.
who really believed in Bitcoin as a tool for financial freedom.
Right.
And then you had all these investors who saw it as a way to make a profit.
Right. It's like that old saying, first they ignore you,
Right.
then they laugh at you,
They laugh at you.
then they fight you,
Then they fight you.
then you win.
And then you win.
It seems like Bitcoin was entering
Yeah.
that fight stage.
Yeah, the fight stage for sure.
Did that affect how the outside world saw it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The media loved to sensationalize
Yeah.
the drama.
Right.
Remember, this was still
Yeah.
a new and kind of mysterious thing.
Yeah.
And so
Every time something went wrong.
every time there was a hack or a price fluctuation
Right.
or a public disagreement within the Bitcoin community,
Yeah.
it made headlines.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
It must have been a real roller coaster
It was a roller coaster.
for those early investors.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But amidst all this chaos,
Yeah.
Bitcoin's value
Kept climbing.
kept climbing.
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah, in 2013,
Okay.
Bitcoin's price really started to take off.
Okay.
Broke through $100 and $500.
Wow.
And by November of that year,
Okay.
it hit an all-time high of over $1,000.
That's a pretty impressive run.
It is.
What's driving all that?
I think it was a combination of factors.
Okay.
Increasing media attention,
Yeah.
growing adoption by merchants,
Okay.
and a lot of
So
speculation.
like a FOMO kind of thing?
Yeah, remember all the Silicon Valley investors?
Yeah.
They were pouring money
Okay.
into Bitcoin startups.
Okay. So there was
And that created a lot of buzz.
real adoption,
Real adoption.
but also speculation.
And also speculative frenzy.
Yeah.
And I think, let's not forget the psychological factor.
Right.
People started to see Bitcoin as a potential safe haven asset,
Okay.
especially after the
Yeah.
financial crisis of 2008.
Yeah.
They were losing faith in institutions
Yeah.
and looking for alternatives.
So it's like Bitcoin was in the right place
Yeah.
at the right time
At the right time.
with the right features.
Yeah, it was kind of this perfect storm.
Yeah. So is this the moment that Bitcoin went mainstream?
It was definitely a turning point.
Okay.
Bitcoin was no longer just a fringe experiment.
Yeah.
It was being talked about
Yeah.
in boardrooms,
Yeah.
debated
Yeah.
in government hearings,
Wow.
featured on magazine covers.
So it really had arrived.
It had arrived, but it was also
Still volatile.
a time of great uncertainty
Yeah.
and volatility.
Yeah.
For
So what happened
Well,
after Bitcoin hit that $1,000 mark?
as you might expect,
Yeah.
after such a rapid rise,
Right.
there was a correction,
Of course.
the price plummeted,
Okay.
and a lot of people lost money.
Yeah. That's the downside
Yeah.
of a speculative bubble.
That's the risk you take.
What happened to the Bitcoin community?
That's what's interesting.
Yeah.
The core community
Yeah.
remained
Right.
remarkably resilient.
Wow.
They saw this as a natural part of the process,
Sure.
a shakeout
Yeah.
that would weed out
Yeah.
the weak hands
Yeah.
and leave only
The true believers.
the true believers.
Wow. So they really believed in it.
They believe in the technology
Yeah.
and its potential,
Even when
even when times were tough.
times were tough. Yeah.
Yeah, and that belief would be tested again and again in the years to come
Right.
as Bitcoin faced new challenges,
Yeah.
regulatory crackdowns,
Yeah.
technical setbacks,
Yeah.
even internal disagreements about its future.
Yeah. That's so fascinating. So looking back at these early years,
It is.
what would you say are the key takeaways?
I think there are several.
Okay.
First, the power of innovation.
Okay.
Bitcoin showed the world
Yeah.
that it was possible to create a decentralized
Right.
digital currency
Right.
that could operate outside the control of governments
Yeah.
and financial institutions.
It really challenged
To challenge the status quo.
the way things were.
It was a bold experiment
Yeah.
that forced people to rethink their assumptions about money
And finance.
and
Yeah.
the importance of community.
Okay.
Bitcoin wouldn't have survived those early years
Yeah.
without the passion,
Right.
the dedication,
Uh-huh.
the resilience
Yeah.
of its core community.
Yeah. They really believed in it.
They believed in it.
Yeah.
They defended it against its critics.
Yeah.
They worked tirelessly to improve it.
They were the pioneers.
They were the pioneers.
Yeah.
And I think finally,
Yeah.
there's a lesson here about
Okay.
both caution and optimism.
Okay.
Bitcoin's journey has been a roller coaster.
Right.
full of ups and downs,
Of course.
triumphs and setbacks.
So be aware of the risks, but also
Yeah, you have to be aware of the risks,
be optimistic.
but also be optimistic and open
Yeah.
to the possibility.
Because ultimately, Bitcoin represents more than just...
More than just a currency or an investment.
It's like
It represents an idea,
an idea.
a vision
Yeah.
of a more
All right, so welcome to
decentralized and
another
equitable
deep
future.
dive.
And
Yeah.
that's
Today we're going way back to the
regardless of
beginning.
whether
Right.
Bitcoin
Of
itself
Bitcoin.
succeeds
Like the
or
super
fails.
early
The
years
ideas that it
trying to
unleashed,
figure
Yeah.
out the technologies it's
what were some of the
inspired,
mysteries,
and the conversations
The
it's
breakthroughs.
sparked.
Right.
all
I
of
think
that,
those
that will
shaped
continue to shape the
how we
world
got to
For
where
years
we are
to come.
today.
For years to come.
Yeah.
And
For
the
sure.
way we're going to do
It's
that
been
is
an incredible
with,
journey.
It has.
this book,
Exploring the
Digital
early
Gold by
days of
Nathaniel
Bitcoin.
Popper.
Yeah.
From those
Great book.
idealistic
Yeah, so it's a really
beginnings
Yeah.
interesting
Silk
look
Road.
at the
The Wild
people
West
involved.
days.
Yeah, the
The
Wild
ideas.
West days.
The
To the
idea.
first personality bubble.
Yeah.
The
Bubble.
events.
Yeah.
It's
You're going to
really
be
a
surprised
story.
by what
It's a
you
great
learn about
story.
the
that
early
captures
days.
the imagination.
sure.
So
It
it
does.
really
And
all
challenges
started
our
with this
assumptions
vision
about
this vision.
of a
Absolutely.
world
about how the
where
world works.
Yeah.
For sure.
money
We
wasn't
saw
controlled
how
by
Bitcoin
governments or
emerged from the
institutions,
fringes
of the
but by the
internet, how it
people.
faced
Yeah.
it sounds kind
so
of utopian,
much
doesn't it?
skepticism.
It does.
This
It
idea of
did.
financial freedom kind of
adversity
taking
and
power back
ultimately-
from
How
these
captured the
authorities.
attention
Yeah.
of the world.
Who were
Yeah.
these people?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
They were called
That's amazing.
cypherpunks.
So for
Cypherpunks,
you,
And
the
there were
listener,
The
digital
journey
pioneers.
continues.
the world of
Hackers of the
Bitcoin
cause,
Yeah.
and
basically.
cryptocurrency
So how
is
did they
constantly
create
Evolving.
Bitcoin.
Well,
New
it was a long
technologies
journey.
are emerging.
Okay.
Decades
New
in the
ideas.
making.
New
that are
ideas.
And one of the
debated.
key potential
figures
impact
Yeah.
was
Only
only
how
beginning to be
Okay.
A
understood.
programmer.
So
Very
stay
famous
curious.
programmer.
Right.
Stay
Really big
curious.
advocate for
Informed.
Stay
privacy.
Got it.
informed.
So you have to
who
imagine
knows?
this.
Okay.
And who
January
knows?
You might be
2009.
part of.
You might just be
Al
part
Finney's
of
celebrating
Writing the
his
next
son's
chapter.
birthday. Writing the
Okay.
next chapter of this
And at the
incredible
same
story.
time,
Thanks
He's
for
downloading
joining us
this
on this deep
software.
dive. Okay.
It's been a
Called
pleasure.
Bitcoin.
All right.
And he's one of the first people in the world to run the software.
That's an amazing story. So he was there at the very beginning,
At the very beginning, but
but he wasn't the creator.
no, he wasn't the creator. The
Okay.
creator is, to this day, a mystery.
Oh, wow.
Goes by the name, or the pseudonym, Satoshi Nakamoto.
Okay.
And nobody knows for sure who Satoshi is,
Huh.
or if it's even a single person or a group.